If you are not seeing conversions on your landing pages, if you're not seeing people convert on your emails, it might be because you have this problem with your marketing. Hey everyone, and welcome to Business Bootcamp. I'm Christy, Wright, best-selling author, certified business coach, keynote speaker, but most of all, your bossy big sister, here to give you the practical steps you want and the tough love truth you need to succeed in business. Let's dive in. So today we are talking about the problem with your marketing. You may not know that you have problems with your marketing copy and your marketing language and your landing pages, but I am here to tell you, you probably do. Friend, if you are not seeing conversions on your landing pages, if you're not seeing people convert on your emails, if you're not having people engage as much as you want to on social media or any of the things that you're writing and creating and producing, it might be because you have this problem with your marketing and your content and you don't even know it. Now, let me start with a story. Y'all know I love to start with a story. About 8 months ago or so, I found out on the school calendar for my son's school that we have a parent meeting. I don't know what this parent meeting is for. It's not like a concerning individual meeting. It's for all parents of the grade to come and learn what's going on in that grade. So I'm like, sure, great. I plan my calendar. I show up. We go in the room. We get our coffee. We all sit down. What happens next is, I don't know, some of the most boring 30 minutes of my life, y'all. I'm just gonna be honest. I love my son's school. They're excellent. They're outstanding. In fact, it's one of the best schools in the city. But as I sit in these folding chairs with all these other parents, they're droning on and on about testing and scores and algorithms and metrics and evaluations and methodology and all this academic stuff. And the whole time, I cannot help but think, why do I care? Why do I care? Seems like y'all are doing a great job. Just keep it up, guys. Keep it up. He's coming home. We're sort of staying on top of homework. Like, I don't need to know all the ins and outs of how you do what you do. Just work your magic. I don't need to know all this, but they go on and on. Speaker after speaker after speaker telling us the long explanation, definition, in-depth description of how they do what they do. And as it goes on, droning on and on, I'm like sinking down in my chair. I'm struggling to stay awake. I'm having a hard time not trying to sneak a look at my phone because I'm bored out of my ever-loving mind. Now, let's look at that situation and see what went wrong. What was the problem with that presentation? Why was I so not engaged? Not just me. I think probably everyone, y'all, okay? It's because they never connected with me on why any of that affects me. They never started by connecting with me on the question that I am thinking, which is what's in it for me? Why do I care? And before you write me off as just a selfish person, every human is wired this way, y'all. You are too, in fact. Every single human brain is wired for survival. That means that all day, every day, every single person walking around on this earth is scanning their environment, probably subconsciously, by the way, but scanning their environment thinking, why do I care? What's in it for me? If something does not affect you, you don't pay attention to it. If something doesn't interest you or do something for you or connect with you in some way, you move on to something that does. Let's use a real life example. Social media. You're scrolling through social media on your phone and then you stop. Why did you stop on that particular post? Because it did something for you, right? Like it interested you or it made you laugh or it gave you some information you didn't know, or it connected with you on a story that you found interesting or entertaining or funny or whatever. It did something for you. That's why you stopped. And those that don't, you don't stop. You keep scrolling right past them. Well, you need to understand the way the human brain is wired if you're going to connect with your customers and your audience and get them to continue to read your emails, read your landing pages, stop on your posts and not scroll right past them. See, the problem is all day, every single person you're serving is thinking, why do I care? And you are not connecting with them on why they should care. You're not starting your writing with that connection point. You're not starting your reels, your copy. You're not starting your content by why they should care. We all do this. It's so tempting to just get straight to the point, isn't it? Like the meat and potatoes, get to the good stuff, get to the content, get to the action items. Like you just want to tell them what they need to know. But if you don't connect with them on why they need to know it, they're never going to listen long enough to get to know what they need to know from you. You know that problem that I experienced in my son's school meeting? Most of us do the same thing. We talk at people and we don't know why they're sliding down in their seats, falling asleep. We don't know why they're not engaging with our social media posts. We don't know why they're not reading our emails or converting on our landing pages, but we're doing the same thing. You're not connecting with them on what's in it for them, on what problem you're solving for them, on why they should care. You're not connecting with them on the most basic question their brain is thinking all day, every day. Why do I care? And if you don't tell them why they should care, here's the reality. They don't care. They don't care. They do not care about what you have to say. They do not care about your products and services. They don't care about your emails, your launches, your new big marketing plan you've got coming up. They don't care about any of it unless you stop and slow down and connect with them on why they should care. See, that's the problem. We're not connecting with our customers on the language that their brain is speaking. We're not connecting with them on why they should care. So they don't care. And then we are dumbfounded on why they don't care. They don't care, y'all, because we didn't stop to connect with them on why they should care. So what do we do about this? How do we fix this problem of not connecting with our customers where they're checked out, they're scrolling their phone, but they're not stopping on our posts? I'm going to tell you one thing you can do that will change everything for you. Are you ready for it? Start with the problem you're about to solve. Start every single piece of writing that you write and content that you create or video that you record. Start every single thing that you put out with the problem that you're about to solve through that piece of content, through that piece of work. If you start with the problem, here's what happens. You instantly connect with them on what's in it for them because you're connecting with them on a problem that they have that you're about to solve for them. So it makes their ears tune in. It makes them perk up. It makes them lean in and listen where they want to know more because you're stopping to connect with them on the problem that you're about to solve. So let's talk about what this looks like. Maybe on an email where you are going to pitch your brand new course. You start the email by connecting with them on the problem that that course solves. So for example, I have courses training people in speaking and presenting. So I might start an email with something like, isn't it so frustrating when you get put on the spot in your company and you don't know what to say? Isn't it nerve-wracking when you have to give a big presentation in front of your board of directors and you have no idea how to prepare? Isn't it so frustrating when you have so much content and so many ideas and you're staring at a blank page and you have no idea how to organize your content into a presentation? I get it. I've been there. I've been a professional speaker for over a decade. Let me tell you about my new speaking course, Stop Winging It. How to face your fear, craft your message, and present like a pro. And then I begin to pitch the course that is the solution to that problem. But I started the email with the problem. I didn't start the email with, hey, I've got a new course. It's so exciting. You really need it. You should sign up. It's going to help you craft messages. It's going to help you present. I didn't do that. I might get a few sales from that from people that are just really interested, but that email is going to convert so much higher if I start by connecting with them on the problems that they have, that this course solves. Connecting with them on pain points that they actually feel. The whole goal of starting with the problem is you want your audience nodding along. You want them going, yeah, gosh, that is frustrating. Man, that is hard. Man, I hate that. That is irritating. Gosh, I wish I could fix this. You know, I've trained speakers for years, and this is one of the most important techniques when you're speaking in front of people. Because a lot of speakers, especially new speakers, walk on stage, they're excited, they're nervous, and they just dive right into the content. They dive right into the main points that they want to teach, the main things they want someone to do, and they get right to it. But if you don't stop to connect with your audience, they're just checked out, just like I was at my son's school meeting. When you start by connecting with them on the problems that they have that you're going to solve later on in your presentation, the audience will visibly scooch forward on the seat. They'll lean in. They'll listen. You want the audience so on the edge of their seat that they are desperate for your solution. They can't wait to hear how you're going to teach them to have life balance, because you've spent 30% of your presentation talking about how frustrating it is to be out of balance. Isn't it so hard when you never have enough time? Isn't it so frustrating when you feel like you are trying as hard as you can at work and as hard as you can at home, and no matter what you do, you're failing? Isn't it so frustrating when you have more commitments than you have time for, and you want so bad to save time for your most important priorities and you never get to them? Isn't it so frustrating to feel like you're failing all the time? That guilt that nags at you day in and day out, no matter what you do, it's never enough. Isn't that frustrating? When you start anything, presentation, an email, a reel, landing page copy, anything you write, when you start it by connecting with your reader or audience or listener on the problems that they have that you are about to solve later on in that reel, later on in that email, later on in that presentation, when you start with the problem, they care. They care. They care about your solution. They read on to find out more. They want to learn what your steps to balance are. They want to learn how to get fit if you're a fitness instructor. They want to learn how to get their books in order if you're an accountant. They want to learn more. They want to stick with you. They want to keep reading, keep listening, keep being engaged because you connected with them at the most basic level, the most primal level, their survival level of what's in it for me. I'm wired for survival all day, every day. I'm filtering out information that is irrelevant to me. You connected with them on why they should care, on what's in it for them. So start every single piece of content with the problem that you're about to solve. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Christy, seriously, like every single piece of content, every single thing I do? Yes. Every single thing you do should start with the problem that you're going to solve. It should start by connecting with them on why they should care. In fact, think back to the beginning of this episode just a short 10 minutes ago. How did I start this episode? By talking to you about how frustrating it is when you talk to people and they don't listen. Isn't it so frustrating when you have emails, you put work into reels, you put work into landing page copy, and it's not converting? Isn't it so frustrating when people aren't connected and they aren't listening? So here's what that means. Every single email you write starts with connecting with them on the problem you're about to solve. Every single podcast you write, every single reel you record, you could even do this on Instagram Reels, y'all. So 60 seconds, you think, Christy, seriously, how could you connect with someone on a 60-second reel and connect with them on the problem? You can. It's short. Everything is condensed into the 60 seconds. But if you go to my Instagram page, do this just for homework, just for study, okay? Go to @ChristyBWright on Instagram and watch my reels. Every single one of my reels starts with something frustrating that's going on. Isn't it frustrating when? Gosh, isn't it so hard to wait on God's timing when God is taking forever? Well, isn't it so hard to obey when God tells you to do something and what he's asking you to do is hard and crazy? Man, isn't it so frustrating when? Fill in the blank. Gosh, I hate this. You know one of the things I hate that my kids do? My kids do this, and I give some story. We do the same thing. Every single thing you do starts with the problem you're going to solve. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, okay, well, how much time do I spend on the problem? That really depends on the medium and the purpose. So if it's a 60-second reel, you're going to spend, 5-10 seconds on the problem probably. You might spend 20 seconds. You might spend a third of that reel on the problem. But you're not going to spend a minute on it because you've got to get to the solution. You don't want to leave people hanging. And you also don't want it to be just a flyover because you want people to be connected enough where they care. So maybe it's 10 to 20 seconds on a reel. If it's an hour-long keynote presentation, it might be 30% of your talk. It might be 20 minutes, 10, 20 minutes of your talk. You spend building out the problem. So whatever the point of your presentation is, back out of that, what problem is solved by that point? What problem is solved by that solution? Spend 20%, 30% of your presentation on the problem. If it's an email, you can use these same numbers, 20 to 30%. You can use that rule of thumb for pretty much anything. 20 to 30% of that piece of content should be spent on building out the problem, drawing it out, building it out, imagining it, bringing it to life where people actually go, yeah, man, that is a problem. Gosh, I do need new landscaping in the front of my house. Oh, I do need to get my books in order. Man, I do need to fill in the blank. Whatever you do, you want people nodding along going, man, I do need help with that. And when you spend time, 20 to 30% of that piece of content, building out the problem, I guarantee you they will stick with you for the later 70 to 80% where you deliver the solution, and they are much more likely to care, listen, be interested, engage, and convert because you connected with them on what's in it for them. Now, I want to give you one small difference when it comes to speaking presentations. So if you are delivering a podcast, you have a YouTube channel, you're a professional speaker or want to be, there's a little bit of nuance to this problem math that I just gave you there. This can change depending on the purpose. So, for example, if you are giving a highly inspirational talk, you're speaking on a big stage, the whole purpose of this presentation is inspiration, entertainment, excitement. You want to actually spend more time on the problem and the solution and less time on the tactical, the action steps, the here's what you do. Because inspirational talks typically spend more time on the pain points and the problems and then the high-level solution. But if you have a highly tactical presentation, so this would be a course, a webinar, a workshop, or maybe your style and your brand is just more tactical, you're going to spend much less time on the problem because you want to get down to the meat and potatoes. You want to get down to the tactical action steps for your listener. So you might spend 5% of your presentation, 5% of your time on the problem. For example, in my speaking course, Stop Winging It, I'll spend maybe 5% of the entire lesson time on the problem that lesson is about to solve. But then I spend the rest of the 95% of the lesson time unpacking the solution, the action, the tactical steps. Because a course is very tactical. And so you want to give them the tactical action steps. You want to get to that quicker. But it doesn't mean you bypass the problem. It doesn't mean you fly over this and you just get straight into it. Can you? Yes. But people will be less connected. They will be less engaged and they will care less, literally. So if you're doing a highly tactical presentation of any kind, workshop, webinar, course, class, anything like that, or your brand is just tactical, even on your podcast or your keynote presentations, spend less time on the problem, 5 to 10% maybe of your entire time on the problem. But if it's highly inspirational, a stage talk or a podcast, or that's just your style, you spend a lot more time on the problem, 20, 30% on the problem, 30, 40, 50% on the solution, and maybe a flyover of the tactical at the end. You want all of these aspects in all of your content. You want the problem, the solution, and the call to action in everything you do. But how much time you spend on each really depends on the medium and the purpose. So you can use this rule of thumb for anything you're writing or creating. 30% on problem, 30% on solution, 30% on call to action, or you can change it depending on if it's highly inspirational or highly tactical. So whether it's 60 seconds or 60 minutes, whether it's one page or one paragraph or one book, it doesn't matter. Every single thing you write and create and record needs to start with the problem that you're about to solve. I want to give you some homework. I want you to look at your latest email, maybe a landing page that you've got up, maybe your latest reel or podcast episode. Go back and look at some of those things that you created and look for the problem. Did you do it? Are you connecting with your listener and reader on the problem that that thing is about to solve? And if not, it's a good wake-up call for you to start to add that in for everything you create moving forward. Y'all, if you do this, if you will slow down to integrate this into your content, where maybe even you write the email and you say what you want to say, and then you go back and at the start of the email, you add in the problem. Maybe you write your landing page how you really want to write it, where you get to the good stuff, but then you go back and add at the start, at the top of the page, above the fold, you add the problem that that landing page is about to solve or the products are about to solve. If you will slow down and do this, you will not only see people be more engaged, more connected, more excited, more entertained, more loyal to you, you will actually see more conversions. You will see people converting into your products and services and moving through the funnel in your business because you connected with them on why they should care. You know, people say all the time, people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. That's true. Also, people don't care how much you know until you tell them why they should care. It's your job to connect with your audience on the language that their brain speaks already. Why should I care? You're going to answer that question for them. And then guess what? They actually care. All right, y'all, that's it for this week's episode of Business Bootcamp. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast channel so you never miss a new show. And please share it on social media to help other people get the help they need as well. And then tune in here every week for another new episode of Business Bootcamp. I'll see you then.